Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In this video, we've got a very interesting story from Am I the A-hole, then one from Malicious Compliance, and we finalize with one from Petty Revenge. So if you want to go ahead and get started with the stories, just use the timestamps below the video. Now, let's get started with the first story. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Beneficial Error 4840. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter to leave the house after she called me a homewrecker? My stepdaughter and I don't have a good relationship. I have been in her life since she was 9. Her father and I started dating 3 months after he filed for divorce. We were colleagues for a short while, about a year before their divorce, but we didn't have any relationship back then. I left the firm just 6 months after we started working together. I didn't even think about him once till we reconnected at a party hosted by one of our colleagues. His ex-wife thinks that he had an affair with me. There is nothing we can do to convince her otherwise. She told her daughter about her suspicions when she was around 13. We had a great relationship till then, and I tried to tell her that her dad didn't cheat. She doesn't believe us. It is just our words against her mother, and the timeline does look a bit suspicious. She withdrew from me and she has always been distant since then, and sometimes she made some remarks about her father being a cheater, and it was very hard on both of us. It was something we tried talking about, but it was just our words against her mother's, and she truly believed it. She returned home for summer break after her freshman year. She decided to spend most of the time with her mother, but she does visit us a few times. She visited us 2 days ago. She was in a remarkably bad mood. She was just stewing in silence and watching something on TV. I asked her to turn the volume down as I was working. She blew up on me. She called me a homewrecker and a gold digger. She accused me of ruining her parents' marriage. I was stunned and shocked, and it hurt me. I knew she didn't like me, but she clearly hated me. I think her calling me a gold digger hurt the most. I am at a stage of my career where I want to switch to something less stressful, but one of the reasons I don't is because we don't want her to be burdened by debt. I love this girl, even if she didn't care about me. I asked her to leave the house and come back when she could be a bit calmer. She left the house and she is not talking to her father. He tried to talk to her and she is not speaking to him. I feel incredibly guilty. I should have handled it better. I got too emotional about it. I really can't blame her for believing what her mom told her. If my mom told me something similar about dad, I would have believed it, and I can't blame her mother too. If you believed that your spouse cheated, wouldn't you tell your children at some point? I let her words get to me, and I may hurt my husband's relationship with her. I feel guilty as hell. My husband also thinks that I should have been calmer here and just let her vent a bit before talking to her. OP, I don't think you were the a-hole. Sure, you could have handled it better, but she called you those things in your house. And also, you're doing a big sacrifice to help her out and she can't even acknowledge that. I mean, I don't know if you told her or not, but still, it's your house. She should at least respect the place you live. If she doesn't like it, she shouldn't stay with you guys. Now, what I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding is that you're defending your husband's ex-wife from alienating your stepdaughter from the both of you. I'm going to go ahead and believe what you're saying, that you two did not have an affair before he got a divorce. She has no proof, yet she believes it, so it's basically faith, and she told the daughter, and that ruined your relationship. From what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's parental alienation, because you guys didn't do that. Now, I don't know why she blew up at you guys on this particular occasion, but she should apologize, or at least give you an explanation as to why she acted that way, because all you did was just ask her to turn down the TV so you could get some work done. But anyways, you are not the a-hole in my book. What do you guys think? What is your judgment of this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to take a look at their judgment. Nika says, no a-holes here, except for her mom. That poor girl has been poisoned by her mother. But can you blame her? It's her mom telling her that stuff. You can't expect someone who was 13 at the time of being told to be a detective to find out if it was the truth. I bet her heart was broken because she loves her dad. But I also don't expect you to put up with it. You are innocent. Even if the timeline is suspicious, you shouldn't have to put up with verbal abuse from anybody. Maybe you could have handled it better, but you could have handled it a lot worse too. Gilded Lily says, not the a-hole. She was incredibly rude to you in your own home, and she's an adult, not a hormonal teen anymore. Your husband should be firm with her, but he's probably afraid of losing her altogether. Invite her back now that everyone is calm and show a united front. Tell her the facts of your relationship, that you pay your way and that you love her. Also, tell her that her rudeness won't be tolerated in your house. She might be unhappy, but she can't sit on your settee watching your TV and expect to treat you like dirt. Infamous Wasabi 9007 says, this young woman is a victim of her mother's lies about you. The bio mom is the main a-hole here. Those lies do not excuse stepdaughter's behavior toward you in your home. Yes, you could have handled it better, but we are human beings, we are imperfect. Tell her you are sorry for telling her to leave, but that you were upset because you did not have an affair with your husband while he was still with the bio mom. You are not the a-hole. Forgive yourself too. Well, we see here that the community basically agrees that there's either no a-holes here or OP wasn't the a-hole. That the daughter can be as upset as she wants, but that doesn't give her a free pass on calling OP those horrible things in her own home. And there's also consensus about the biomom being an a-hole for filling the stepdaughter's head with all that crap and lies about her having an affair with the dad. So now we get to that point where we have an update. So let's continue with that and figure out what happened after this. I was overwhelmed by the number of comments I received. I read most of them, but some of them were pretty judgmental and harsh on all of us. She did make up with her dad a few days after, but she didn't come over. Some people suggested that I show her evidence, but the funny thing is that I have none because we had no relationship outside of the office. He was an email address and a nice voice on the phone for my time there. I think we interacted in person maybe once a week. We were not even in the same department. I have shown her our resume, I have tried to show her our ID tags, but she thinks we are hiding our relationship. You can't prove a negative. My husband did have a conversation about how she treated me. I think it got through to her. She visited yesterday. She apologized for being short-tempered. I apologized for kicking her out of the house. We had a nice dinner and we ended up talking. My baby got cheated on. She did lash out at me, but considering what she believed, she just took out all the hurt on me. She looked so heartbroken talking about it. I know how bad it is. When you love someone so much that even when they trample your heart, you just want to pick it up and offer it back to them. I had just gotten out of a toxic, messed up relationship with a cheating a-hole when I met my husband. It was heartbreaking watching her go through something similar. I did cry a little. She let me hug her and that means a lot to me. I missed my baby. We have so much to work through. We are seriously considering having some family therapy, but I didn't want to spring it on her when she is emotional. My husband is planning to talk to her about it. Things are still a mess, but after a long time, I feel like we are moving in the right direction. Well, that definitely explains the daughter's bad mood and the way she reacted, but it still doesn't excuse it. Getting cheated on is a horrible experience, there is no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean that the stepdaughter can just go ahead and throw her frustration in her stepmother's face just because her mom poisoned her head about the stepmom having an affair with the dad, which we take OP's word for not being true. Hopefully OP supporting the stepdaughter through this tough time will help them bond in a different way, and maybe the daughter will open up to believing OP and maybe understanding that the mom may be bitter and that's why she said those things. In any case, OP, I hope you and your stepdaughter can rebuild your relationship. All the best. Take care. And now, we move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Texas4Tough. The cheerleaders can break dress code because they're school uniforms? Guess I'm wearing mine. Way back in 2013, I was a sophomore in high school and there was a tradition that on Fridays, the cheerleaders, football players, without their pads of course, Band members and the other groups performing wore their uniforms to class. This wasn't a written tradition, and only the cheerleaders and dance team's uniforms broke the dress code. Nobody really batted an eye to it. I wasn't a skirt person, but I liked dresses once in a while. As one can tell by my user, I grew up in Texas, and it's still significantly hot in August and September. So one time, while wearing a casual sundress in September, I was pulled out of class and reprimanded because the end of my dress was 4 inches above the knee when the dress code said no shorter than 2. I pointed out that cheerleaders and dance teams wear their uniforms every Friday and how they reached mid-thigh at their longest, but was told that was okay because students can wear official school uniforms, and was sent home to change. Clearly, somehow, someone had forgotten I was on the golf team. Immediately, my mind was turning to the next Friday. The school had recently upgraded the golf team uniforms the year prior, and the girls' team's uniforms consisted of a short-sleeve collared polo shirt and a skirt. If you don't know what a skirt is, it's essentially a skirt and short shorts combined. It looks like a skirt, but they essentially act like built-in bike shorts, and these effers were short. I'd argue shorter than the average cheerleader skirt. So, that next Friday, about 3 days later, to my parents' surprise, I was ready to go that morning in my golf uniform, as compared to taking a bag to keep the clothes in to change into after school. But I just said, Fridays we can wear our uniforms to class, and they accepted without question and took me to school. Well, by the second period, I was sent to the office yet again, and the first thing the assistant principal asked me was why I would deliberately disobey her right after our last conversation, and threatened in-school suspension. I'll never get anywhere in life by not listening, and yada yada yada. When I finally had a chance to get a word in, I said, "But this is my school golf uniform." And I pointed to our school's logo that was sewn into my polo shirt. "You said students can wear official school uniforms to class. Why are the cheerleaders' uniforms okay and mine isn't? This isn't even a skirt, it's a skirt. It has pants." I still remember how pissed off she was. She stared me down for what seemed like millennia. Then she snapped and told me to get out of her office and go sit in the lobby area. That I knew what she meant and she would be calling my parents about this blatant disrespect. So I waited and played on my iPod and chatted with the nice secretary, trying to keep myself distracted because in reality I had been really trying not to cry. I had massive anxiety when it came to authority, but I still had my naive sense of injustice and I didn't just want to let this go. After about 20 minutes, she popped her head out and in a very monotone voice told me I could go back to class and to let teachers know I had gotten permission from the front office to wear my uniform. Then she went back in and closed the door before I could even think to respond. I spent the rest of my day dealing with teachers questioning me about my outfit and 1 or 2 calling the front office to double check my claim that I had in fact gotten permission, and went to practice after school as normal before being carpooled back home. My dad met me at the front door with a small smirk, and I asked him what in the world happened, because I knew he was the go-to contact for my school, so I knew she called him. He explained that when she called and tried to get him to come to the school and get me, and talked about punishments for my insubordination, he immediately began to argue with her and admitted he raised his voice quite a bit, asking why I wasn't allowed to wear my sports uniform that the school provided to me as a dress requirement at my golf practice, and mentioned taking this all the way to the school board and resolving this obvious favoritism. He then asked me not to do that again, but that he was proud of me, and told me, "I know I had told you never to start a fight, but to always fight back. I always thought physically, but you damn sure took the advice." This is fantastic, OP. Thanks so much for sharing your story. I loved how you used the vice principal words against her. That's just one of my favorite malicious compliances. And also, I loved the fact that your dad had your back. Good on him, and good on you. Now, let's move on to one final post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user You're Acceptable. You say dogs barking is just what dogs do, huh? I had a neighbor that had a dog that, I crap you not, barked from about 7 PM till 5 AM non-stop. They worked nights, I believe. They kept it outside. I knocked numerous times and they said, "Dogs bark, what do you expect?" Their house was directly behind mine. We shared a divided wall. I recorded their dog for a full day. The minute they brought him in and felt like they were sleeping, I popped my phone into the dock and played it on my stereo full blast facing their yard at 9 AM. They came over raving mad to my wall by about 12, asking me to shut my dog up. I said, "It's your dog, I recorded him. Since you miss out on what dogs do, I'm just playing the radio at normal allowable city time and I will do this every day." They started bringing the dog in at night after that. Oh, this was beautiful. I loved it. Thank you, OP. This post hit the perfect petty spot. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.